students, welcome you all in online session of English. Students, as you know that chapter number 6, My Childhood, from the book Behind is Going On. And now today we will continue this chapter, and till now we have read about Abdul Kalam's birth, as he was born in 1931 in an island in Rameshwaram, and his father's name was Jalaluddin, his mother was Ashiyama, and he was much influenced by his parents. They were also very concerned and caring about their children, and as he was much impressed by his parents as well as by his three friends as named Ramdas Shastri, Arvindan and Shiva Prakashan. And Abdul Kalam, who faced different problems, different conditions, as we came to know by reading as different incidents and which was happened with him. That can be as the problem which was created by his teacher, as teacher instructed him not to sit with a Hindu Brahmin boy, and he made him sit separately. And another can be there as he was invited by his science teacher for a meal, Shiva Subramanya Iyer. So where his teacher's wife refused to serve him food only because and as he was belonged to a Muslim family. So these kind of discrimination then he was facing, and he wanted to overcome from this. He wanted to uproot these kind of problems which were spread in society. So Abdul Kalam, then who was thinking about everybody. Now we read also about his first earning, that how he started earning money by selling tamarind seeds, and after helping, and later on by helping his cousin Samsuddin in distribution of newspapers. So as he was a very helpful person and devoted person, as his friends were settled in different professions, but this person then who became later a scientist, later on then as a writer and poet, and this multi-talented personality was going to show something different, which was unique and different. He was going to do something different in the world. And so now here in this chapter and this session we are going to learn more points about Abdul Kalam. So before starting explanation, let's have a look on hard. Downcast means sad or depressed. Bluntly means directly. Segregation means separation. Mingle means gather together. Perturbed means disturbed. Confronted means faced. And key points of the chapter which we are going to discuss are as Abdul's decision for higher studies and how he gets permission for higher education. So students, as earlier he was getting education in Rameshwaram, but as he became mature he wanted higher studies. He wanted to get higher studies by going outside of Rameshwaram. For higher education, he asked permission from his father to leave Rameshwaram because he wanted to go out and he wanted to learn more and more. And at the time, he made up his mind to study at the district headquarters in Ramanathampuram. His father became ready easily because he wanted to see his son on the top of the success. So he happily gave him permission so that Abdul could develop his own career, because father was convinced but here mother was hesitant. Then she was not ready to send his son out of state or out of we can say then out of his motherhood, and she did not want to allow him to go so far away from her eyes. So at that time Abdul Kalam's father made his mother understood by saying some lines of Khalil Gibran. Then he said, then your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. And they come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. It means that if you have given birth to your children, it doesn't mean then you will apply your all rules and regulations on them. Yeah, that's better. Then, and this is also a good point, then here as parents also instructed their children to move on the right path, because naturally they are having more experiences of life and experiences of facing different situations. So that's why they always guide their children to do something and not to do something, and to select something particular field, or that can be in about a career and about a practical life. But sometimes parents prohibited and they restricted their children not to do something which they feel that which is not convenient and good for their children. But at this time, when Abdul Kalam's father was watching this decision of getting education in headquarters in a positive way, but mother was becoming emotional. That's why she did not want to send his child far away from his eyes. So she, at the time, she was not ready to send. But when his father told her all the lines of Khalil Gibran, the famous writer, then she understood. And he said then here, if we have given birth to our children, so we should try to make them understand. But we should not apply and imply all our over instructions on them. We should let them fly away in the sky so they can reach on the higher top of the success. And with this, Abdul Kalam's mother understood, and then she gave permission to Abdul Kalam for getting higher education in headquarters in Ramanathampuram. So here with this chapter, My Childhood, which is an extract taken from the autobiography Wings of Fire of Abdul Kalam. This chapter has completed, and in this chapter we have read about the childhood, about the parenting, about the surroundings, about the problems faced by Abdul Kalam, and how he got education and how he survived in the atmosphere where many people were creating different kind of problems that can be based on the caste and discrimination and partialities, in which a person become very upset and depressed because of facing all the problems. But Abdul Kalam never leave a hope, and he moved and finally, now as this multi-talented person, then who became later 11th President of India, as well as he was a great philosopher, he was a great writer, poet, and he got a great name and fame in the world. So students, in this chapter we have read many things about Abdul Kalam, and we should also take a lesson from this chapter. Then we should not get afraid from the obstacles, from the hurdles which come in the path of our success. We should challenge them, we should face them, and we should try to overcome them. And by crossing them, we can get the real success. And after doing a lot of efforts and hard work, we can achieve the real success and we can complete our dream. So with this message, now this chapter has completed. Students, revise this chapter. If you get any query, so you are welcome to ask, and complete your notes on time. And now take care of yourself. Thank you. Hello students, how are you all, my dear students? I hope all of you are safe and sound at your home and enjoying online classes. So students, as you know, this chapter, Footprints Without Feet, written by H.G. Wells is going on, and we read a lot of points about a scientist and who discovered a drug which could make a person, a naked person, invisible. And this unique kind of scientist, even he was a scientist, but he was a selfish person, greedy person, we can say, and he can be called a criminal also, because he took the complete advantage of this discovery. He did not make benefited anybody else by this discovery. He wanted to get the complete advantage and benefit of this drug by himself. That's why he took it by himself. He swallowed it completely and became invisible, and then he set fire to his house. That was only for his personal issues, to take revenge from his landlord. And then he went to a store. He fed himself, then he slept there for one night, and next day when employees of that storehouse came, and then he ran away from there by being invisible, by putting off his clothes. And after running from the store, he reached a theatrical company where, by using some items which were used by people who were acting, like whiskers, goggles, moccasins, he used all this and he changed his appearance. And he robbed a shopkeeper also there, and then he ran away from there, and he thought to move away from there because many people were after him. As we can say, then his landlord, then two boys then who were searching, a person who made those mud prints. And now here the employees of that storeroom, then the person who belonged to theatrical company and the shopkeeper, all the people were chasing him. So he thought it would be better to move away from London, and then he reached in a village named Iping, where he booked 2 rooms in an inn which was belonged to Mrs. Hall. So he lived there for a few days. Till then he was having money, but when his money which he robbed which he got by robbing a shopkeeper, so when this money was ended, he was moneyless. So he started making another plans to get money. And Mrs. Hall, who was very intelligent lady, she tried to take out some information from this unique kind of personality, but she was unable to do so, because here Griffin was not sharing anything with Mrs. Hall. So till this point we read in previous session. Now we will read next part. But before starting explanation, let's have a look on the hard words. Flung open means suddenly opened. Knocked, forced to fall. Dashed, struck, springing, jumping. Slammed, quickly closed. Hysterics, wildly emotional reactions. Witchcraft, practice of magic. Warrant, an official authorization. And now key points of the chapter which we are going to cover in our today's explanation are as Mrs. Hall enters Griffin's room, attacked by furniture. Griffin becomes invisible and escapes from Iping. Clergyman reported burglary to the police. Mr. Jaffer, who was a police constable, was called. Finally, Griffin was escaped. Now, let's see all these points in detail. So here, Griffin, who was a different and strange kind of scientist and who was living in an inn belonged to Mrs. Hall. So he was living there in comfortable manner as he was having money which he got by robbing a shopkeeper. But when money was ended, so he started making another plans, and he robbed a clergyman's house by using his invisibility. This clergyman who was living in the same area nearby Mrs. Hall's inn. So when this clergyman was robbed, on the same day, Mrs. Hall found. Then as Griffin's room was opened, so she went there, she went inside the room and she noticed here bandages, clothes, they were lying around, and she called her husband. When she, Mrs. Hall and her husband entered into the room, they were suddenly attacked by the furniture, and furniture was being flung at them, but they could not see anyone there. And now they were surprised and very amazed, and they were shocked. Then nobody was there. Then who was making attacks on them? Even Griffin was not there, and there was not a sign of Griffin. Then who was doing this? So finally Mrs. Hall concluded that this furniture as well as room was haunted by spirits. It means here some magical powers have trapped this room. Because Griffin was not there, and except of these two people, no one was there. So who was doing all these things? So naturally some extraordinary powers are there. Then who are doing this? So they have made this conclusion. Then some witchcraft, some magical powers have done this. So now as Griffin, that who made this robbery? So when this clergyman reported this robbery to the police, and most of the people in the village, they felt then a strange scientist then who came in this village, he would be have a hand in this robbery, because earlier when he came he was having money, after some time he was without money, but now suddenly he paid all his rent, his due rent. So from where he got this money? So everybody was suspecting Griffin. They thought that Griffin has done this. That's why he got money suddenly. And now as he was not having money earlier, so from where he got this? So people of that village, they called Mr. Jaffer, then who was police constable. He was called to arrest Griffin on suspicion. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hall asked Griffin, at the time when Griffin came to his room, Mrs. Hall asked from Griffin, then what is happening in his room and even in surroundings? She asked, then here before earlier you were not having money, and then you paid your rent of your room suddenly, and the same day robbery was done in clergyman's house, and when we were entered into your room, then here furniture is flying and it is attacking on us. Then what is the reason? Who is behind all these things? So as she tried, Mrs. Hall tried to take out information from Griffin, and in starting he was quiet, but later on he lost his temper and he decided to tell each and everything in a true manner to each and everybody. But he knew very well that if he would tell truth to everyone, they would not leave him, and naturally he would be arrested by police. So he thought to be safe, he thought to escape from there. As he was speaking along with this, then he was putting off his clothes. It means as if he was putting cloth from his arm, so his arm became invisible. So one by one each and every part of his body became invisible, and at last only head was left, and when he put off his cap, then he was completely invisible. Mr. Jaffer, who was police constable, tried his best efforts to catch Griffin, but he was not in the hands of Griffin. Griffin was not in the hands of constable. Even as Mr. Jaffers tried to catch him, but how he could catch that person who was not visible? Even in trying to catch Griffin, Mr. Jaffer was knocked and he became unconscious because he got many attacks from this invisible man. And now nobody was able to catch this invisible man Griffin, and finally once again he was escaped from this village Iping. So students, with this chapter has completed, and we have seen in this chapter we read about a person, then who thought about himself only. Then the great discovery which he did, he could use this discovery for the benefit of a needy person, but he wanted to get the complete advantage of this discovery by himself. And now even he committed many mistakes, he committed many crimes, and he hurt many people, and he made a loss of many people just for completing only his greed. So through this chapter we also get a moral that if we are having a quality, so that is not enough only for us, then we should use for others, then who can be benefited by this. And at that time we should, as we think for ourselves, we should think about others also. Students, I hope then you have understood this chapter. Still, if you get any query, contact me by making text or making a call. Your responses are always welcomed. Complete your notes on time and take care of yourself. Thank you.